Personal protective equipment. The HSA defines PPE as any device designed to be worn or held by an individual for protection against one or more health and safety hazards. Respiratory protective equipment is a particular type of PPE used to protect the individual wearer against inhalation of hazardous substances in the workplace air. Other PPE include white coats, which act as a barrier of protection for the individual against chemical and infectious hazards. Eye protection must be worn in situations where there is a risk of splashes. Examples of this includes manipulating sample tubes when checking for blood clots in an FBC tube. And lastly, nitrile gloves are standard use when working with chemicals and patient samples. These PPE should be worn appropriately. Discussing hazards is another important aspect of health and safety. A hazard is anything that has the potential to cause harm to a person. Hazards encountered in the lab are mainly either biological or chemical. Biological hazards refer to microorganisms, cell cultures and human endoparasites that are capable of provoking infection, allergy or toxicity. Cleaning and disinfection of benchtops, analyzers and computer equipment are done by lab staff. This is to reduce the risk of infection and contamination. The decontamination of biological spills such as blood or other bodily fluids can also be performed using the Actish Law Plus. This is used to cover the area of spill or debris. You would leave it on the spill for 2 minutes and remove using paper towels. All waste from this would go in a yellow lid biohazard bin or bag. Chemical hazards. The proper storage and use of chemicals is necessary to avoid dangers such as burns, explosions, fires and toxic fumes. The knowledge of properties of chemicals and its uses greatly reduces risk of harm. Some safety guidelines recommended by the HSA's Chemicals Act of 2008 include 1. Chemicals in glass containers should be transported in rubber or plastic containers, protecting them from breakage. 2. Spill kits should contain specific materials to use in spills of acid or caustic or organic materials, and the appropriate spill kits should be placed in strategic locations. 3. Flammable chemicals should be stored in fireproof boxes or fireproof chemical cabinets. Chemical cabinets should only be used when in proper conditions. Attention should be paid to load capacity, and reactive chemicals should not be stored together. An example of this is the storing of acids and bases in the histopathology laboratory. Acids like sulfuric acid should not be stored with a base such as sodium hydroxide. How do you deal with a spillage?